Have you checked the children?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
And Jaime Fuego here.
And we are here once again to continue our review of all of the volumes of Locke Key.
Yeah.
As you guys know, at this point, Locke Key has been available on Netflix for a couple of weeks, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it as much as we are now. At this point, we don't know how much of the series has actually been adapted by that first season. I mean, at the point you're watching it, everyone knows, and we know, sure, but when we're recording this, we don't know. So we don't technically know if this volume we're about to record is going to be included in the series or not. I believe it is, because there was an image, a promotional image, that showed one of the keys, one of the characters holding one of the keys from this book. So I believe this part will be included.
Cool.
And I think it should be, because there's a lot of foundational relationship stuff that happens in this book. So let's go ahead and talk about Locke Key, Crown of Shadows.
Yeah, pumped to discuss.
So this is the first issue. This is actually where I broke off and started buying hardcovers instead of the actual single issues. So I only have issue number 1 here. But this one, of course, is the same creative team with Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez, with Jay Photos doing the colors.
Ooh, shout out Jay!
So again, this book just once again shows a consistency of vision through the same artwork. The characters, you latch onto it. Everyone looks the same through the whole thing. But, actually in the next volume, there's a little bit of difference for an issue. They take a little bit of a departure, but
yeah, it's a cool little little treat of sorts. So.
But yeah, before we get into the actual story, let's do our overall thoughts on this, Fuego. Again, I love this series as a whole, but I think part 3 is where they really start to dive deeper into everything and really start to flesh things out. I believe you said before you came over that these were more dense feeling than the first 2 volumes.
They are much more dialogue heavy, whereas the volumes 1 and 2, I mean, there's lots of visuals that told the story. These were all very just discussion heavy amongst different characters and stuff like that. So yeah, overall thoughts, I dig the fact that we have new supporting characters that have been, tossed in, and they're intriguing and interesting, with Kinsey and her 2 new friends, Brick Boy, whose name eludes me, and then we also have Jamal.
Might as well be Spike.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just, even as I was reading him, it was like, just like British accent in my head, very fun. And then even Ty has kind of a love interest at this point, this transfer girl and stuff. So, I mean, yeah, I dig everything that's going on with every character, really. And, we still have lots of sadness with the mother as well, and her just grappling with everything and sinking deeper into depression and alcoholism. But this is more refined storytelling than even in the first 2 volumes, like significantly. It's coming into its own as I read even each volume, So.
And it's building on things that were foundational in the first 2 volumes that you didn't even realize were foundational.
Yes.
And it's really tremendous writing. It's the increased complexity as each new volume progresses is just really fun and amazing, and it gets even more so, like, more dense, and so much so that the last volume 6, has 7 issues instead of 6 issues.
It's a lot to take into consideration.
Yeah, they wanted to wrap it up well, but as you said, this one is more dense, and this, the second 2 pages here show not only, that it's a more dialogue heavy volume, but really, why do we get faxes now? Unbelievable. Why still? Anyway, so now that you heard the fax machine go off,
yeah, we're old school like that.
This is actually one of the moments I wanted to point out, because this is the very beginning of the series, and you see all of our characters. I love it. I already said my overall thoughts, so we're segueing into the story now. But Mrs. Locke is still just a shambles after losing her husband, all those months ago at this point, and she just drinks to cope. And the kids kind of raise themselves, and occasionally she'll have these nights where she gets really drunk and stumbles into Ty's room and, just starts talking to him drunk, and she's like, "Oh, I thought you were awake." But there is one bit of dialogue here that, again, just goes to show the amazingness of the writing of Joe Hill, where she even says, don't ever have children, Tyler, unless you're ready to be afraid every day for the rest of your life. And it's just such a sad state of affairs for a woman, because you know, she almost lost her kids, she did lose her husband, and now she's constantly scared for them. And that's a horrible, you know, thing to have to deal with. So already, and that's page 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Right. So they're
over
going
head.
deep, but then we also immediately after see that Dodge is still free to move about the country. And he's got a bunch of keys in his possession now, so he's amassing this group of keys. Although not everything goes well.
Still trying to find that black key, obviously. You know, that's his main prize.
There's also a bit of a reveal here when Dodge goes through the ghost door.
Oh, this was very intriguing. So in the first issue, we basically find out that the spirit of Sam is still hanging out there.
I liked it because you thought Sam was done in that first volume, and I was like, comes back maybe.
Yeah, he has this. I mean, his spirit is still lingering because he's tied to the negative instances that transpired on this property, and so he's going back and forth with Dodge at one particular point, and you can tell that he feels violated. He feels
Dodge lied to him.
Dodge lied to him, totally misled him, and used him, which is exactly what happened, or at least this spirit that is taking, you know, like the place of Dodge's body or whatever at this particular point. And yeah, there is some body jumping. There's all kinds of
really cool
wackiness going on.
spirit fight going
Cosmic
on.
craziness here.
Yeah, and so that's what's interesting. You think about the fact there's things that Joe does in the writing that you don't consider as a reader, right? Yeah. So there's a ghost door, and if you go through the door, your body drops dead and your ghost goes free to go move about wherever you want. Now, there's 2 people out here, only one of them has a body, so what happens if the other one is malevolent and wants to live again? He can try and go through the door to take your body.
Yeah.
And that is a pretty aggressive thing, so that's what he's trying for here, and it becomes a really cool battle inside his body, and it's just a really fun issue that's just
and Mama
delving
Locke
a bit deeper,
observes it
just
happening,
starting.
too. And she's all drunk. She doesn't know what the hell she's seeing.
Well, there's a
she
really cool
finds
bit with
something,
the anywhere key. You see how magical these keys work, right? So they're both on each side of the same door, but he uses the anywhere key, which magically opens to wherever he wants. So that door technically opens this way, and she goes through the regular door, and now he's gone. So the magic that's used in this is just amazing.
And then she finds the
and then she ends up finding the well house key, or the echo key is what they call it, at the end of the issue. So that's how this new series starts. And this one is still... Volume 3 is still pretty much world building, but it's progressing. Volume 4 is where stuff kicks off and really starts to, like, I was surprised we got as many reveals and like big changes that we got in Volume 4.
4 is bonkers, man.
Right? It is. So we're excited to talk about that, but let's continue with 3, Fuego.
So the coolness with 3 is that as Kinsey makes these new friends, and it really hinges specifically upon the fact that this British punk kid is like, I saw your father's name written down in this cave, in this cove, blah, blah, blah. Scott, yes, that's right. So we have Scott and Jamal are the 2 that she basically, along with her friend Jackie, they go down into this cove, which is notorious for having killed these kids back in the 80s, a bunch of her father's friends, because it has these different levels of the tide.
Which was in the artwork in Volume 2 that they discovered that we showed in the actual review.
Oh, in the flashback,
Yeah,
right?
in the flashback.
Yeah, that's right.
No, in the painting. Remember, the dude's painting was of this cove.
Yeah,
so everything is coming together. Like, this is really Harry Potter level seeding in the early books that pay off.
Yeah.
So, and I say Harry Potter level because that is one of the best examples of things that are seeded in early books and paid off in later books.
Well, and Joe Hill is such an enormous fan of J.K. Rowling. He actually
has
tons of references to her in the
tons
book.
Of sense.
In the book The Fireman, he has constant Rowling references, and he even dedicates the book to her and his father as far as being the biggest inspirations for him putting it together. So
when the kids go down here, they end up getting stuck, and the staircase breaks, and they're all stuck in this freezing cold water and with no way to get out. So it's this whole issue of just these 4 characters bonding in a terrible circumstance, and do they or don't they escape kind of thing. And it's just a really well done issue. I mean...
Oh, it is. And it shows how kids can, like, just shift their attractions quite quickly and stuff like that. And, you can have a crush on the girl that your friend is trying to get with and all this different stuff, so without spoiling too much.
And then we also saw that.
Yes.
Body.
Yeah, we find it, but only one body, right? Down there?
Yeah, but that's...
But we know who it is.
We know who it is,
without spoiling things.
So, all right, that leads us into the first... This is technically that's issue 1 and 2, and then the next 3 issues are the Crown of Shadows 1, 2, and 3, where it all. I mean, we see a bunch of new keys, right? We see this giant key here in the ground, and we don't know exactly how that comes into play just yet.
It just amuses me about how Bode, for whatever reason, is able to just...
Why do you keep calling him You're
Is it
such
Bodhi
a
or
reader
Bode?
pronouncer. Yes.
Is it?
It's
Bodhi?
Bodhi. It's Bodhi.
Okay.
Who have you ever heard
Bodhi
named
has
Bode
this-
before?
I don't know. Bodhi has this inherent ability for whatever reason to he's like drawn to these keys.
I'm not. Just so you know, I'm not criticizing. It's just it just shows that you have such a reader's brain.
I know.
Right? Because you read names so much, so you just pronounce how you read them. It's funny. It's nothing I'm criticizing you for. It's just funny how your brain works.
Yeah.
It's
so,
nothing to be embarrassed or criticized on. It's just it's a funny way your brain works different. That's all. It's great. It's great. I
Bodhi
like it.
constantly stumbles upon keys though throughout all of the volumes that I've read. He is obviously drawn to them with some sort of like magnetic power, intuition, whatever the hell you want to describe it as. And I mean, it's just funny though in this volume as well, in the fact that all 3 of the kids, are basically 100% on board with the understanding of the fact that this Dark Lady is out there, about the fact that, all of these keys have alternate powers and different things like that. And where she starts, it's in this volume where she starts like showing the key to the 2 friends, right? It is in this volume.
I'm not sure. We'll get there. Let me get there. But
sorry.
But Dodge does end up coming across this key here, which is the Shadow Key, and he knows of a passage into where the Crown of Shadows is led, and so he puts it on, and that basically allows him to control all of these different shadow creatures throughout the whole house, and he mounts basically his first attack on the Locke children, and you see each one of them being attacked in their various different, places. And it's just so cool, but it ends up setting a precedent for the Dark Lady attacking the Locke children in different ways throughout the thing. But it's done
cool.
so well, though.
Well, it's also cool the way Kinsey figures out how to combat it with something as meager as a flashlight,
Yep.
and that's, that's what, her and
Look how
Bodhi
gorgeous this art is.
Yeah, the art is ridiculous. Gabriel Rodriguez he has such expressive stuff that he is putting together for this. I mean, Joe's, ideas and storyboarding and everything else, obviously, massively awesome. But
look at how well this is, like the flashlight. Like you said, this has to be done by an artist very well. So you see, Kinsey is being held down by this massive shadow creature. When the light goes off, the shadow creature's gone, and then is back, and then the light flashes because it's a flashlight. It's a strobe light, not a genuine flashlight. So every time it strobes, she's able to move. But look at the artist has to somehow render that, and it's just really faded with a bright light. But it's such a clever way to show that this is how she's fighting the shadow creatures as she's going through the house.
It's also dope the way Bodhi talks about how he escaped the clutches of the other shadow creature, and the fact he's like, I just opened up the refrigerator and blah blah blah.
Literally right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, it just went away when I opened up the fridging, and so on and so forth.
So they figure it out, but it's just great. It's just the first of a number of attacks by the Dark Lady, aka Dodge, and so it leads to the first use of this giant key. And so you see he puts the giant key through the massive window, and then the house literally he just opens up the house, and then it becomes a straight up. Like, you see how giant he is right there with the shadow creature.
It's so sick.
And then this next issue is just one giant kaiju battle, basically.
Yeah, for the first 10 or 12 pages.
Yeah,
it's just
no
dialogue. It's just single one-page shots. Like, check that out.
Yeah, it's so cool, you guys. I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but
the lighthouse is what helps him vanquish.
Yep, it's so cool. It's just such smart writing, And then it goes back, and the mom comes home.
I love this bit where he picks up both of his siblings, and he's like, I want to show you something, and Kinsey's like, wow, and then Bodhi is just looking at something in his hand. He doesn't even care. He's like, wow.
Typical
it's
kid.
Cute, man.
He's looking at the Crown of Shadows is what he's looking at.
Yeah.
So then the mom comes home, and there's aftermath, but
lots of stuff with this girlfriend of Ty's though, and him just trying to like win her over and write papers for her and all this other stuff, and I mean, you can tell that she cares about him, but we don't even find out until the next volume how deep their relationship has gone, and I look forward to discussing that because it's interesting. And
so Fuego,
this is one of my most heartbreaking things
really?
I've read in the entire series. So.
Yeah.
The Locke mother discovers something at the end of in the epilogue, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it happens in the last issue. They throw.
Yeah.
Oh no, in this one, no. They find her broken cane, and they throw it in this little chest just to get it out of the way. And then she goes back for it later.
But a chest that they unlock with a specific key that they found on top of the little like banister area, whatever the hell you would call it.
And so when she goes back to it, she's like, "This was smaller last time, I thought." And so the thing has changed shape, and now the cane is fixed inside.
Yeah, so it grows to accommodate the thing that is put in it to fix it.
And
cool.
basically, one of the most emotional things was she went crazy or no, I'm sorry, not yet. That's actually coming
that's
soon.
At the end, and that's the part that killed me.
Yeah. So this there's a broken stool in there, and so she gets the idea, and so she puts the pieces of the broken stool in, and you see how the cabinet works right here, right? She puts the broken pieces in, and then if you look here, the cabinet's thicker now. Because she barely squeezes them in, and now it's got to fit a whole stool. So the cabinet changes size to fix anything, right?
And it really hinges upon the fact that she was trying to juggle these plates, like this old video they found of Father Locke, the deceased
in front
father.
of her kids, and she kept breaking the plates.
She's drunk and stuff, so she's breaking the plates, but she puts the plates in after fixing the stool and realizes, she's like, oh, all these plates are right. And then she gets the really ambitious idea of putting something really big time in there, and it's the urn of her husband.
The urn of her husband, and we won't show what happens, but
it made me tear up, man.
Yeah, it's it's really amazing. It's a really great story, and it goes so far, and it leads to such, I don't want to show it because I don't want to spoil, but it shows such dramatic, family drama and stuff. Oh yeah, I got the big,
it's really
big
cool.
sized. I got mine's bigger.
That's what she said.
And then finally, the last issue here, it's got the music box key. It looks like, and also you see Ty finds a particular key. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to cut that out.
And that's where we're
Hang on,
right
I
about
gotta
to
cut that
jump.
out.
Yeah.
I gotta cut that out. I can't show the ashes, the broken iron.
Wait, are you just randomly making a thumbnail right now?
No, we're still going. All right, so yeah, we're moving into the last issue here, and I guess it. Oh no, that was it. That was the last issue.
Yeah, that's why I was like, that's the first volume 4.
Okay, sorry. All right, so then yeah, okay. So that's it, guys. That's gonna do it for the. That's the final issue here. So Fuego, let's talk a little bit more. I mean, we talked about the art,
which is also in your book.
We talked about the story. We talked about the art. I mean, what more specifically as a review can we say about this volume? I mean, we could give it a rating, if we really wanted to, but I just think it's still super strong. And in fact, this volume is where everything really started to solidify itself as one of my favorite stories, because it's just so in-depth. It's so good and emotional and imaginative, and I just love the hell out of it.
The fact that even the supporting characters that they add in this aren't throwaway, the fact that they're very interesting, the fact that there's all of these dueling dynamics between all of the kids when it comes to, the fact that Ty is, friends with Dodge, but yeah, Dodge is trying to date his sister, and we still don't have the reveal about that until the next volume when everything, is aired out.
We see it start in this volume.
Yeah, all of the seeds that are being sown for just further drama. It's like you're anticipating so many different payoffs and all these different plot threads, and that's what the third one just upped the ante so significantly here. And the intrigue and the interesting aspect of all these other characters, I dug it. And the fact that we didn't have Rufus in this volume at all, and yet they have to come back to him, and the fact that he's perceptive as to what Dodge really is, Zach, whatever. I mean, there's just so many things I'm still anticipating that they didn't even address here just yet, and I'm like, I know Joe's gonna have to. It just has to happen, man. So yeah, that's the type of book that Brian K. Vaughan does the introduction here in this particular hardcover that I have, and he was basically like, okay, I know everybody loves waiting until the collected edition comes out, but Locke and Key, as he adamantly proclaimed in the intro here, he's like, this is when you need to read issue by issue, because how could you not? It is such strong storytelling. He claims to care so much about these kids and just everything that each of them are going through individually, and the mother as well. I mean, once again, great just fleshing out of characters and making them seem so real and not just like one note, boring and forgettable. I mean, this whole family, they're nuanced and distinctive, and they all have their own problems, and you care about all of those in their own respective regard.
I'll tell you one thing on this reread. Every single volume has been its own sit. One sit.
Serious, yeah.
Like, I keep reading, I keep going until I'm done with that volume because it's just such good stuff.
Indeed.
Such good stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to do it for our review of Volume 3 of Locke Key. And I'm not sure if I got to it quickly enough. I'll probably have to put... I don't know. I'm going to try and do a comparison of the episodes versus the comics. So I'm not sure how quickly I'm going to have to put these out in order to be able to put those up as well without spoiling the book. So
it is an ambitious effort that you
it is. There's going to be a lot of Locke Key coverage coming out of this channel. So thanks very much for watching, you guys. Stay tuned for our review of Volume 4, which we are about to record, and then we're going to record Volume 5 and 6. And maybe even 7 next week. Volume 7 is just the 4 single issues that have come out since Volume 6. Ooh, I'm trying to grab your hand. All right, so that's going to do it, you guys. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button and subscribe. Make sure you ding that bell so you don't miss all the other volume reviews going forward. So there's at least 4 more Locke Key episodes coming, and then they're doing a new series this year as well. So we'll review that when it comes out, too. So until next time, thank you very much for watching, and thank you to our patrons for supporting the channel. But I've been Cecil Laird.
And Kristopher and Jaime Fuego!
And remember, stay scared.